So what will the Labour Party do that's actually quite good? One of the few things is that we have simply the worst railways in Europe. And I'll explain why in a second. Basically, by 2025 and into the 2030s, a load of the existing railway contracts after the privatisation of the Tories are going to be... Was it the Tories? Might have been under Labour, actually.
Sorry, what?
Was it Blair or the Tories who privatised the rails?
I remember exactly when it happened.
Can you pause it? My pausing isn't working.
Click escape and click F again to full screen. You guys have clicked out, you're not on that page.
I see.
But I haven't heard any conservative conservative take from
Okay. No, so the railway was it was privatized under John Major.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in 1994. That was it. 1994. Privatized under John Major, a conservative prime minister.
But yeah, I've never heard, because you always hear about rail nationalisation. I've never heard it from a conservative's perspective.
This will be interesting.
It's more of a process, really, isn't it?
Yeah. I can't remember. Maybe they bring up in the article. But anyway, the rails were privatised and therefore sold off to a bunch of private companies. We'll get on to who owns those in a second. And so they're going to bring in legislation that will just simplify the rail system, bring it all into public ownership. And actually, that is a good thing because we're getting screwed. You know why we're getting screwed? Guess who owns our railways? Oh, that's right, the Europeans. The Europeans own our railways. Why do we let our rivals and competitors in Europe?
Oh yeah. I mean, Europe isn't our rivals, but it's interesting that they're going with the approach of who owns it is the problem. I think it's nice to see that they're agreeing that someone other than the British government owning something as key as rail transportation is wrong.
Well, is it owned by EU countries or EU companies? Because it's not like, oh yeah, GB Rail is so shit, I'm going to use Spanish Rail. Because no, you're not.
No. It's like basically what they're complaining about here is foreign people owning it.
Foreign influence is what they're complaining about.
Yeah.
I can understand foreign influence sometimes, but like...
Well, I mean, I can get the argument that something like rail does need to be... We need to have a sense of security around it. Like with energy. Yes. But I would say the issue isn't which foreign country is owning it. It's the fact that it's not publicly owned.
Yeah, if it's not owned by Britain, it's kind of a little bit of a concern.
So we agree with like the what. I think we're disagreeing with the specifics. But the general thing we're kind of all seem to be in agreement.
We're here for the nugget. I think it's something that
exactly.
I keep on using the rest of my life. I think we're here for that.
Here for the nugget.
I don't want that to be a catchphrase because it just adds a bit fecal, isn't it? That's just me.
It sounds like taking a shit.
Yeah. We're here for a nugget.
Here for a nugget, man.
We'll start using that now.
No goddamn railway, right? So the West Coast Main Line connecting London, Birmingham, Manchester and Glasgow are operated by the Italian state rail operator.
Okay, so it's owned by the Italian government then?
State rail operator. So it's owned by the company that owns the Italian one. I think not the Italian government.
I think they're so closely intertwined. I would assume
potentially it isn't. The Italian government are going, oh, we're going to delay their trains.
Yeah, because it's funny. But I think they'll probably just increase costs and try and milk as much money as they can because they don't give a shit about the English people that are far away.
But I also think that's just the concept of privatization, right? That's the problem with privatization. Something like transport, we need it and lots of it to be healthy for our economy. Companies will jack up prices because people don't have a lot of options, but then over time people transport less, which suppresses economy. There's a whole host of issues.
My issue I've always had with privatization, if it gets take it back to the government, is I don't trust the government not to go increase the prices every single year. This will.
I mean, they probably will, but it wouldn't be more than inflation, would be my assumption.
See, my family are always complaining still. Every single time I go down to visit them, they're always the same thing of, in the 90s or whatever, or 70s, I can't remember one of the two, when the motorways were all redone in France, they built the toll booths and said, we're going to repay the debt that we got for these toll booths, then we're going to get rid of them. It's 2024, they're still here, and they're becoming, like, my mum travelled recently, she added another £200 into her journey, to save like €80 just to drive.
Yeah. I mean, toll roads are ludicrous,
And I think this because a train ticket is a toll booth. It seems I don't trust the government to not jack up the price every single time because we need it. Because the government always needs more money.
They will. But the real advantage from the train network though comes from the boost to economic productivity of us being able to access good transport. So
I also preface that a company will do the same. A company will always, as well, try and get as much money as they can out of a place.
yeah, exactly.
Not private. The state rail operator Trenitalia. I've used Italian trains. They're terrible, but ours are worse, right? The German state railway, Deutsche Bahn, operates 4 British railways, including the London Overground, the Grand Central Line to Sunderland. 7 UK railways are operated by partly owned Dutch State Railway, operated or partly operated by Dutch State Railway. I can't pronounce Nederlandse Spoorwegen, something like that, right? Including Merseyrail, ScotRail, and West Midlands Railway. And 7 railways are operated fully or partly by the French State Railway, including a bunch of other transports for Wales and Thameslink and stuff like that. So for 30 UK railways, 6 are owned and operated by private companies or British government authorities.
Is that good or bad?
No, it's bad, definitely.
Definitely agree on that.
So
It wasn't privatised. It was given.
It was given to
one point I think you have to say very quickly, because a lot of people out there, that our audience are sort of right-leaning. They would say it's the idea that nationalising anything is sort of the policy of a socialist. But it's not necessarily the case, because it's, if you think about it, you either have something nationalised, controlled from Westminster or Whitehall, or the French own it, or the Chinese own it, like our steel. You either have a nationalised steel industry, or the Chinese own it.
Yeah.
Well, surely it's the lesser of two evils.
Exactly. To have it nationalised here.
I think having a foreign company is not a greater evil. It's not always going to be a greater evil than having the government do it.
No.
Clearly say, but I can understand that. I can understand their concerns for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's still going to be run by a bunch of incompetents that might not still have our interests at heart in London. I'd rather that than Beijing or Paris. No.
Sure, but it's literally
Right?
the Germans, the Dutch.
I would rather it be an English company, because then the buck is easier to stop it, because it's so far away. It's
And I've been trying to impart my optimism. I would like to believe the government does have citizens' best interests at heart.
I'd like to believe it too.
Yeah.
Just leave it at that.
Yeah.
Leave it vague like that.
The Italians and the French who own our railways. But it's the state. Those states own our railways. So they're not private. Right? They're not privatised. They're nationalised.
It's bizarre, isn't it? It's perverse.
It's perverse. Just for other nations. No, we should bring them back. For what I would say are right-wing reasons. Not for left-wing reasons, no. Because don't like those foreigners having our industry. Right-wing reasons, okay? There is a good reason to do this. And
I'm going to say it's not just right-wing in general to say they don't like foreign stuff. I want to say that but can be on either party and also people are right-wing.
Yeah.
It had to be like that way.
It's just smart things to do.
Yeah, this is a sensible thing to do. I was very much against it for a while, because it was just thinking like, I don't trust the government not to raise the price up. But listening to more stuff on it, and also this also out as well. Like, he is right. We just
Companies will jack the price up there as well. Yeah,
companies jack up the price. Government will jack up the price. With a company, most you can do is vote with your wallet, and I can't really vote with my wallet because I need to use a train. I need to.
Exactly, and there's no option, right? If I wanted to visit you, right, we're currently in different cities. If I wanted to come up to you, I have one choice of that's it.
You have to use
I have to use Southern Rail to leave my bit.
Yeah.
To leave Brighton, I have to use Southern Rail, no matter what. I don't get an option. So this idea that like I can vote with my wallet isn't true.
Or you could spend $1,000 or whatever and get a car and do it, and then spend 100 quid petrol to get here.
At
that point, you're spending so much money, and they're losing like 20, 30 quid.
And you know what? That is what I am doing, and that is worse for the
Environment.
That's worse for the motorways and stuff like that. It's just a lose-lose.
If these train companies are pricing people into sitting into little metal boxes, it's not a good idea.
No,
Xenophobia for the win.
And I'm not even joking, right?
Right.
They're exploiting us, right? We are paying the most expensive train journeys in all of Europe, right? For comparable distances, in Germany, costs £9 to travel 120 miles from Berlin to Dresden, whereas a similar journey from London to Birmingham is £35. It's unbelievable. Like, to get from here to London is 50 quid. It's like, that's an hour.
Yeah.
That is unbelievable. Like, to go from Madrid to Barcelona is £53, whereas to get from the same distance from London to Edinburgh is £106. So we're being totally rinsed here. No, this absolutely should. And the final thing, just to close this off, is that for some reason the Conservatives decided to make it that you probably wouldn't get prosecuted for stealing less than £200 worth of goods. And the Lib Party are like, yeah, we're going to get rid of that. because that's bonkers. It's like, yes, that is bonkers. I don't know why the Conservatives did it.
No, it's crazy.
Oh, well, we'll just go to the fucking co-op and rob £199 worth of shit.
It's crazy, and it comes from that they weren't building prisons because they're wasting money on stupid policies, and so then they needed a way of reducing the amount of people we arrest. So they just went, as long as it's under 200, you're okay.
So I remember when this happened in America, there was a big stink about it because it's thinking like $400, something like that. So it was stupidly large.
Yeah.
And it's just like so. Like these are small crimes and stuff. And I understand these people are like, oh, the business don't care. About... I think it's like the big business. It still fucking matters. It still matters.
Well, then my weekly shopping should just be free, essentially. And like, do you know what I mean? Why am I paying for my weekly shop?
Well, the stealing culture is fucking massive at the moment. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, no, it's huge. It's huge.
Co-op. So I've got all my friends and stuff. They're over there, and they're like, Sidney, you always pay for things. I'm like, yeah, because like, like I don't have do I have a lot of money? No.
It's like you pay. No.
I try my best to, I only go to co-op when I like need milk.
Be frugal.
I'm not nicking milk. I'm sorry. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a quid.
No. Yeah, we believe in law and order. You know.
And it's not like
you less the order, but we believe in law.
It is immoral to steal a tiniest thing. It's just as immoral. Well, it's not just as immoral.
It's stealing is wrong.
Stealing is wrong, and it should be punished accordingly.
Stealing is wrong. Absolutely.
Imagine if it was imagine if like a government thinks like a government law said it is wrong to steal from a big business like that. But it's just not how it should be.
No.
Should we finish this off then?
No.
Let's go for it.
Good.
So, I mean, credit where credit's due, even if it's one tiny bit of their policy program, that is better.
So
surely.
I think there as well. We've found our SpinCycle almost. You know, we've found it. We've broken the kind of, I don't know, that we found middle ground there. You know,
easily found middle ground.
We really did.
Sure.
I guess in the end, we strongly all agreed.